Greetings once again, my friends, my fellow modelers, my fellow historians, and my fellow lovers of everything interesting. I'd like to welcome you to yet another video, and I'm really excited to show this to you today. When it comes to the R.M.S. Olympic, the only model that I've really had up until this point was a really tiny one. I had done the history on the R.M.S. Olympic, and then I had shown you guys that small model, and then we did the build, and it was just microscopic. Well, what I want to show you guys today is something that I've been looking for a while. This is Revell. This is 1/700 scale, and it's the R.M.S. Olympic from 1911. You can see a beautiful picture of her on the box. Now, I was ecstatic to get this. This kit isn't terribly old, but it is terribly hard to find. Trying to find the Olympic, it was just impossible. And this kit has been on my radar for a long time. And you know, I don't even know if they make a Britannic. I'm not sure, but Revell made the Olympic and I was ecstatic to get it. I hope it's not just a reboxing of a Titanic mold with Olympic decals. I'm hoping that it's actually different, because there are differences from the Olympic and the Titanic and the Britannic, for that matter. They may have all been sisters, but they weren't identical. So what I want to show you guys today is the kit from Revell, and this is kit number 05212, and I'm very much looking forward to getting into this kit. Let's take it over to the desk where there'll be more light and there'll be more room, and we can check out this absolutely magnificent ship, sister to Titanic. Okay, so there's more light here, and we'll be able to look at it a little bit better. Look at that beautiful illustration of the R.M.S. Olympic. Absolutely gorgeous, huh? This is kit 05212, 1/700 scale R.M.S. Olympic. And this is 38.5 centimeters long, 1911. And let's see, we got a little bit better light to look at the back, or the side of the box actually. You can see the top and the superstructure, the compass platform and the smokestacks. You can see the bow. And there's some information here, so let me go over this. Simple to assemble, thanks to distortion-resistant components. Represents appearance in 1911. Detailed hull with textured planking. 3 ship screws, detailed decks with textured wooden planking, deck superstructures with window apertures, lifeboats with davits, derricks, detailed funnels, display stand, and detailed decals. And looking at the other side of the box, let's see if we can find a date. This is from 2013. Revell. Revell.eu. An unassembled plastic model kit, paint and cement not included, are needed to complete the model as shown. 1/700 scale. The length is 38.5 centimeters. The pictorial multilingual instruction sheet provides precise assembly instructions. Kit suitable for ages 10 to adult. Made in Europe. And there's some different information in different languages. Of the 3 ships of the Olympic class, only the R.M.S. Olympic carried on to make the Atlantic crossing for 24 years. Her sister ships, the R.M.S. Titanic and the H.M.H.S. Britannic, sank in 1912 and 1916. The Olympic went into history as Old Reliable, commissioned in June of 1911 with a tonnage of 45,324 gross tons. In 1935, after the merger of White Star Line and Cunard, she was scrapped, and that's horrible. During the First World War, she served as a troop transporter and was then converted from coal to oil fired, and during one Atlantic crossing she even withstood a monster wave. The model kit shows the Olympic after her completion in 1911. After the Titanic catastrophe, more lifeboats were taken on board, which visibly altered the silhouettes of the Olympic. In addition, she was given an internal double hull. Until the completion of the Titanic, her first built sister ship, the Olympic, was the largest ship in the world, and that's why the Titanic and the Britannic are known as the Olympic class. And there's more light over here. You can see the back of the box. You will find many other true to the original scale models, as well as an extensive accessory and airbrush range in the Revell catalog. And we've got the Ada Blue. I've shown you that in the 400 scale. I've shown you the Swedish warship Vasa. I think that was an Airfix though that I had shown you. We got the Nimitz, the USS Nimitz, the battleship Bismarck, and I have shown you a couple of those, but they were not Revell. And the Herman Marweed. Again, I'm not familiar with that vessel. And of course, I'm familiar with my beloved Titanic. And it shows you all of the things available from Revell. And the glue actually looks familiar. Actually, I think I got it right here. Yep. No, looks like it's... I knew I had that somewhere. I had gotten that in one of the Airfix kits. Matter of fact, I think it was Titanic. Okay, let's take a quick look at the ends of the box before we open it. You can see the same illustration, 1/700 scale, a skill level of 3, and this is kit 05212. And the other end of the box, again, it has the illustration, and it's more of a horizontal feature. Okay, this box has really seen its better days. Let's open it up and make sure that everything is still in it that's supposed to be. So let's just take everything out first. And let's see, is that everything in the box? That's everything in this box. Okay, let's take a look. First, well, these appear to be sealed, so that's a good thing. That way there we'll know we're not really missing anything. Okay, let's take a look at the first tree. Well, I say sealed, but they actually were just in bags, and they were taped closed, but hopefully everything's here. Alright, let's start with these first. Looks like we have the smokestacks. And you can see the davits. Unfortunately, the davits look a lot like the ones on Titanic, on the Titanic model. And again, I realize they're sister ships, but there are differences. Hopefully we'll see them as we go along. You can see the anchor crane, as well as the ladders that I believe are going to go up on the smokestacks. And you can see the cargo cranes. And the propellers. Like the Titanic, this is before it was converted. Well, maybe even after it was converted, but while it ran on coal, the two outer propellers were larger, and they were run by the reciprocating engines, and the smaller four-bladed fan propeller in the middle was run by the turbines. You can see the caps for the smokestacks, and of course there was only 3 that actually had exhaust coming from the engine room. So that's the first tree that we get to see. Put that aside. And let's check out this one. It looks like we got more, the other halves of the smokestacks, as well as looks like the propeller shaft housing. and the rudder. Looks like the compass platform. And we've got the masts. Every time I see this model in 1/700 scale, every time I see the masts, they just look so tiny. They almost look like they're not in proportion, because the masts seemed, if you remember, the smokestacks were halfway up the masts, and they just seem so small. Now this is 1/700 scale, and look how tiny the anchors are. Yep, there's 3, 2 on either side, and we get the bow anchor. And I'm not sure if these are generators or winches. Alright, let's take a look at what's in this bag. It looks like this has the most. Alright, let me just take them all out for now. And what do we got first? Looks like we have the promenade deck housings, the walls. Look like they're upside down. And what I love about this is, look, they're all open. And of course, we're going to light this. I like how they're open. I don't remember if the Titanics were open. I don't think they were. Nice. Okay. Looks like up, you can see the bridge, the wheelhouse, and looks like grand staircase. I'm not sure if that's the forward or the aft. More of the walls. And let's see, what are these? Not quite sure what these are, but these are probably where one of the smokestacks are going to go. Nice. And I love how all the windows are open. And let's see. If you look really close, you can see the grains of the decks. And over here, again, if I'm not sure if that's going to be, all right, so this is forward and this is aft. So this is the aft grand staircase. You can see where the smokestacks are going to go, and there's going to be one that's going to go on that deck house. Nice. And it looks like we have, let's see, this looks like it could be the promenade deck, heading down to the poop deck. You can see all the benches, and this is where the rear docking platform is going to go. And you can see where the cranes are all going to go in this deck well. And again, we go with the promenade all the way down to the bow. You can see where the cranes are going to go. Cargo hatches, and cargo hatch in the front with the anchor chains, and the anchor crane is going to go right there. So this is really tiny, but we'll make it look good. And I believe that is the the forward grand staircase right there. And lastly, in the bag, it looks like, well, actually there's something else, but it looks like we have the base. That's a nice touch. You can see where her name is going to go. Okay, and I like it. We got the rigging too. I love it when they include the rigging, as we'll do the rigging around the smokestacks, and we'll do the rigging on the masts. We'll do the Marconi lines, and hopefully we'll have enough where we can actually put some of this on the lifeboats from the davits. Nice. And what I like about this is, let me see if I can get a little piece to show you. See how there's not as much, I should say, as the fray. Because when I usually use the thread, when I did Titanic, I used thread and it just looked terrible because of all the fraying. All right, and that's everything in that bag. So let's take a look at the hull. And I apologize for the light blinking. I guess I'm having issues with that lamp. Alright. So let's take a look at the hull. And right off the bat, you can tell it's not the Titanic, which is nice. You can see the different locations of the doors, and I'm not quite sure what these are. Looking at the bow. And you can see the promenade deck, and the superstructure is. And the, I'm not quite sure what they're called, the lookouts. And again, one of the differences with Titanic, these overhang slightly, and they don't on Olympic. You can see the plates, the deck plates, or the hull plating. Strakes. Looks really cool all the way to the aft end. And what we're going to do is we're going to drill out all the portholes so we can light her up. And I guess they're not actual parts, they're just from the parts tree that need to be removed anyway. So looking at the bottom, you see the straking, the hull. I love the hull. I love the detail. I think Revell does a really good job. And like I said, I was worried that this was just going to be a repackaged Titanic mold with different decals, but I'm happy to say that from what I've seen so far, this is actually a different ship. You can tell that this is Olympic. Nice. I like the detail. Okay. See the front of the ship, or the side of the ship. This would actually be the port side, all finished. And it's got a little bit of the information from the Titanic Museum in Germany. On Wednesday, 16th of December 1908, the keel of the R.M.S. Olympic was laid under serial number 400 at the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Northern Ireland. She was the first of 3 ships to be built in the Olympic class. About 3 months later, the keel of the second ship of this class, the R.M.S. Titanic, would be laid. The Olympic was launched on the 20th of October in 1910. Immediately after the launch of Titanic, that is on the same day, 31st of May 1911, the completed Olympic was passed and handed over to the White Star Line. On 14th of June 1911, she began her maiden voyage under Captain Edward John Smith. Sound familiar? He would go on to Captain Titanic, who then served as the captain of the Titanic on her maiden voyage. With a registered tonnage of 45,324 gross registered tons, the Olympic was the largest ship in the world until the completion of Titanic. However, in September of 1911, she was badly damaged when the battle cruiser R.M.S. Hawk crashed into her starboard side. The extensive work required delayed the completion of the Titanic by about 3 weeks. That the Olympic was still known as the Old Reliable was not least connected with the events that took place in subsequent years. During the First World War, when serving as a troop transport, she rammed and sank a German submarine, SMU-103. After the war, when back in service as a passenger liner during a crossing in February of 1926, the Olympic encountered a monster wave which, in addition to other damage, broke 4 windows on the bridge. As in 1934, the British government forced the White Star Line to merge with Cunard. In 1935, she was scrapped. Her internal fittings were auctioned off, and some of them can now be seen in the White Swan Hotel at Einwick, and also in the Titanic Museum in Germany. That must have been a heck of a wave to break the windows up in the bridge area. Okay. And this, let's see, before you start, this just tells you to read all the information. They have the keys for parts to cut off, file, clips, painting, and gluing. And over here we have the symbol key. You can see where you need to glue, where you repeat it, where you tape it, the decals, the rigging, and you can see different keys. All right, let's see. We got black, silky matte black, purple red, white, ochre brown, gray silk, wood brown, fiery red, brass metallic, gold metallic, anthracite gray, steel, yellow, green, and dark gray. So those are the colors needed. And taking a look at the parts key, we went through all the parts, we looked at all the pieces. And that's what those were for. That's right, Revell has the little pieces that go in between the hull. That's actually step 1. We're going to bring the hull halves together and we're going to put the little bulkheads in. Step 2. Looks like we're putting on the rudder. And that's when we'll go ahead and we'll paint the hull. And then you can see the superstructure, the sides. And we get the promenade deck that's going to go on, and you can see all the different things we're going to have to paint for the detailing, from the bollards all the way around, the anchor crane bases, the cargo crane bases, and then the anchor crane is going to go there. And in the back you can see we have all the benches and staircases and all the things that need to be painted. And they're going to have us mount it to the hull right away, and if you notice there's no columns, it just goes right on that base. So that was step 2. I'm sorry, step 3 was the rudder. And going on to step 4, you can see we're going to actually put on the housings for the propeller shafts as well as the propellers themselves. And we're going to put the anchors on, and you can see the anchor crane, the anchor going into the bow. And part 6, we're going to start to put the bridge together. And again, I love that all the windows are opened up. Part 7 looks like a deck house. Where is that going to be? Aft end. And looks like we have another one. That's going to go all the way aft. And then part 9, you can see we're going to put the walls on the promenade. And that's going to go onto the hull. Step 10, we're putting the, you can see where we're going to run all the, are those rigging? 4 centimeters each. Yeah, that's actually cool. I think this is for the davits. So that's a nice touch. You can see it painting the deck. You can see the aft grand staircase and one of the decks that are going to go on top, the boathouse or the deck house. And this is going to go onto that, and this is going to go onto the promenade deck that's inside the hull. So step 11, you can see we're doing another deck house. And I think this is where, that's actually where the wheelhouse is going to go, on top. Again, this is going to be a lot of fun to light up. Step 12. And on to 13, you can see we're going to do more rigging. And we're going to put these roofs onto the deck houses. You can see where the smokestacks are going to go. On to step 14, we have more of the walls. And I love how everything is opened up, so this is going to light fantastically. Maybe what we'll do is we'll just run light strips down on the roofs of all the different decks, starting at the deck house on top, and then down through the bottom. That way all the windows can light up and look really great at night. On to step 15, you can see we're going to do the rigging for the funnels, and that'll be, what's that, 1/2 millimeter? And we're going to bring the halves together. Step 16, 17, and 18, we're doing the funnels. So 15, 16, 17, and 18, we're going to complete all the funnels. And in step 19, you can see where we're going to put all of the rigging on. We're actually going to glue them in place first, put the caps on, and then we're going to have the rigging. And then moving on to the bow in step 20, the addition of the bollards, the anchor crane, some of the vents, the cargo cranes, everything's going to go in and really start to detail it up. So on to step 21. I think, is that the Marconi pipe? And you have some of the vents, the deck vents, and we got 2 of the collapsible lifeboats that are going in the front. Step 22, it looks like we're putting together the compass platform. And again, there are more vents that are going to go around it. Step 23, more vents. Step 24, you can see the pipe. I don't know if that's a steam pipe or what that's going to be, but step 25, you can see the bollards in the back with the vents. Step 26, it looks like we have the compass platform that'll be put in place, and there's a couple more vents that are going to go around it. And then looks like step 27, we actually put on all the cargo cranes. So we got 6 that are going to go in the back. And then we put on the lifeboats themselves. Step 29, we're going to put in, looks like the aft mast. And you can see the rat lines. And the rat lines that are going to go in the front with the foremast. And then finally, we get the back where we have the decal placement, and we have the final rigging. You can see how we're going to start. So we can start at the anchor crane, in front of the anchor crane, come up. We come down to the front where the wheelhouse is, and then we go back up to where the flag is, and then we go back down to that, and then we would have the Marconi lines that are going across, and then we do the same kind of Delta insignia shape in the back, and you can see they have the rigging 3. It's interesting. I always thought it was 4. On Titanic I put 4, unless Titanic had 4. Let's see how many on the 1, 2, 3. It looks like there's 3 in the illustration. We'll have to see. You can see the coloring of the hull. Is the top is A and the bottom is B, and you can see the back and where the decal is going to go, R.M.S. Olympic. And you can see, looks like the port side of the ship. Nice. And unfortunately I don't have decals in here, and that's kind of a big part of the kit, because obviously we have to have the decals, and I just want to check to make sure it didn't stick in the box. So my friends, I'm going to have to look for an aftermarket 700 scale Olympic decal set. If you guys know of one, you go ahead and put it in a link. I'd be grateful. And until we start this build, my friends, thank you so much. Thank you for watching, and this is going to be a great build series.